Welcome to Automotive World, everyone. I'm your host, Renee Mystery, and we are back, and we have some huge news coming from Kia. We now know that we have an idea of what the Tasman pickup truck looks like. We have a confirmed name. Obviously, we have it under wraps here, but we're still able to tell quite a bit from the design. There's a lot of things going around on this truck. I'm gonna show you his video as well that was shown here, where in the United States they were testing it. A lot of people are saying because of that it's gonna come to the United States. There's a lot of things we have to talk about on this pickup truck. So sit down, relax. This is gonna be probably a pretty long video. We're gonna go in. We're gonna talk about the evidence we have, the rumors. We're gonna speculate some things that we've got on here. We're gonna go through a bunch of different sources as well because we have different information regarding that testing they did here in the United States. First thing though, let's start off with the design. We know this is what the truck's gonna look like. This is a picture from them. We have it under the wraps here. We can see here, this is the size, which I'll show you in the video. This isn't the size of a full-size truck, but this is the size of about a mid-size truck, very close to something like a Nissan Frontier, Rivian R1T, and things like that. We can see here, we have lights that are Telluride-esque. We have a pretty small grill right here. Nothing too big. We do have a pretty small grill right there though. The cab itself, it doesn't look too big, honestly, compared to just from this picture from the size of the hood. The cab itself does not look too big. Generally though, on all these mid-size vehicles, the cabins don't tend to be too big anyways. So it doesn't look like necessarily too big of a cab, but on par with what the mid-size, field is. And then in terms of bed-wise here, it's hard to tell from the image. I would like to say that's just a standard 5.5 foot bed. It doesn't look like a 6 foot bed. Unfortunately too, as well, with this angle, we can't really see any sort of springs or axles. We can't really see the back, so we can't see any towing equipment, any we can't see if there's any hitches or wiring, things like that. We get to look at the headlights here. If we look on the inside, we can't really see much on the interior. We can see though there's a grab handle. That is not a reflection of a grab handle. We can see there's a grab handle right here, and you can actually see as well there is a grab handle right there as well. This vehicle is presumed to be on a body on frame platform. We don't have any confirmed suspicion of is it going to be body on frame, is it going to be just unibody off the Telluride, is it going to use the Telluride's V6. We don't know any of that yet. In terms of the interior though, we can see, like I said, we see two grab handles. We can see the visor down here. We can also see the interior here a little bit. We can see the shadows of the seats. Like I said, we can see that this seat is back in this position. Obviously, you can move these front seats and things like that, but it is on par with the mid-size truck in terms of space. Just from the two, it does not look like there's a lot of space back there. It looks, like I said, on par with the mid-size truck, versus, especially too when you look at where these seats are right here, where you can see the shadow, how you can see the end of the cab right here. I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't look like there's a lot of space in this vehicle. If you look down here, like I said, there's nothing really to see down here. Sort of see like an axle and things. We don't really see anything here. Disc brakes, so it's good. We really don't have much on this vehicle because they did keep pretty much everything under wraps, but we can get a silhouette of the interior. We can see that there are grab handles on both sides. We can see the grill here. We can see the lights. Tire wise, can't really see what that says. Looks like a CR. Looks like CRO something S maybe at the end, but they're pretty careful to keep this under wraps. And then we have our little kind of our antenna up there. Let's move on from this picture just for a second. What we have from the actual, let's talk about the actual rumors and things like that. So we're gonna go over to Kia's newsroom. This, however, is Kia's global newsroom. So we're going to come over here, and this is going to be interesting because we're going to go over to the American one over here as well, where they didn't even mention it. But we're going to start off with the global newsroom. So Kia's unveiled here under the very unique camouflage their first ever Tasman pickup truck. They talk under here that this vehicle is going to be Kia's first C-segment pickup truck slated for a 2025 launch with key markets including Korea, Australia, Africa, and I'm assuming that's supposed to be the Middle East. They just put the middle, but I'm assuming that's supposed to be in the Middle East. They don't mention Europe in there at all, but I would assume also as well this vehicle may make its way over to Europe. But they say C-segment pickup truck. We're going to look at the sizing here in a second, but when we go to C-segment vehicles, for C-segment vehicles, there's not necessarily... C-segment vehicles aren't based on any like weight or size criteria. It's a bit of a loose segment, but approximately it's a length of 4.5 meters, 15 feet. It has grown though, as we can see, to 4.6 meters. Lots of C-segment vehicles, especially over in Europe, are generally passenger cars and things like that. When you look at other places, they have grown to be, MPVs and vans and things like that. But so the C-segment vehicle really doesn't help us here just because of the size of this vehicle. It is possible it might be, the size of a compact MPV or, essentially a van at that point. But in terms of the C-segment size and classification for Europe, it's not really going to help us out here because this is going to be bigger than something like a hatchback or even certain estate cars. So let's come back over to the Global Center here. What we have under here, we don't have any information on pricing, specs, anything like that. They just really talk about the design, they talk about all these, all these kind of different, ethos and things like that. Just, how, they want it to make you feel and things like that. Like I said, in terms of down here, 2025 C-segment pickup truck arena. It says the launch strategy will be phased globally. Key markets, Korea, Australia, Africa, and the Middle East. They don't talk about whether it's going to be here in the United States. They don't give us any indication on that. They do say this is going to be suitable for demanding 24/7 lifestyle, versatile truck that will support even the most extreme leisure activity. So clearly they're branding it as a lifestyle vehicle, very similar to the Santa Cruz. Doesn't really say if they're gonna, also make this as like a workhorse, but we talk about those markets there. Like I said, we don't have any news on United States market. Let's come over to Kia's America newsroom. We have no information on it at all. They haven't confirmed it. They're not reporting on it. This vehicle is being built not by Kia America. So we have no information on Kia America for this vehicle. Even if we were to go to Telluride, which is probably, if did come to America, it might use that engine. We go to 2024 Telluride. We have nothing there for it. We can look up pricing and things like that. We have nothing there for it, right? But if it did use that engine, we would know. If it uses a Telluride engine, then we'll know, okay, hey, 3.8 liter V6, 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. So we have nothing there. We can close both of these tabs out. We're going to go over to Car and Driver's article here. Reason why is we have some information. We are expecting it to use a body-on-frame platform, but we're not necessarily sure. It is possible, though, considering that this is, an overseas built vehicle. It does have, like as they mentioned too, those headlights that look very much like the Telluride. They still may be a newer headlight design, but it looks very much like the Telluride. I'm going to show the video that has been circulating around here. First of all, they blacked out they did really dark tints on it. They blacked out the vehicle really well because I wanted to see, obviously, as this is going to be a foreign vehicle market, I wanted to see if they, because it does have a Michigan plate on there, did they switch over the side of the driver's side and convert it to test it here, in the case that they are going to sell it here at some point, or did they keep it over there? Unfortunately, I wanted to give you the audio to hear it, but unfortunately they put this music over it, which I'm a bit kind of upset about. I wish, even if it was like they, when they roll down the window, I wish they would have not put the music. I wish we would have heard the audio. I don't quite understand their logic for the audio, but this, we see the headlights again here. We see the very, very small grille. A particularly not too big of a cab, pretty small cab, honestly. We look at the bed there. It's a very interesting, like I said, this is definitely, it might be even a 6 foot or a 6.5 foot bed, but it doesn't look necessarily too big of a bed to me. I wonder if they had any sort of kind of roof kind of racks or like bed racks or anything, just because of the way that the tarp is coming down. I really wish we could have seen the audio. I wish we could have heard the audio of the actual vehicle, even if it wasn't a particularly good sounding vehicle. There's just really not much to get from this. It is on par, though, with, mid-sized trucks nowadays. It is definitely on par with, the Nissan Frontiers, especially with the way that bed is. It is on par with, it's on par with the mid-sized truck and even a Rivian. Definitely not a full-size truck, though. It doesn't have the size. It doesn't have the, doesn't really have the length of the vehicle to withstand or say full size. It doesn't look like it's high enough or has the ground clearance either, and especially with that type of cab, it does not look full size to me. It does look a bit on the longer side, but it just looks like a mid-sized truck. But it might be, depending on that market, the bed does look super extended. It might be a 6 foot bed. I don't know. I don't want to say 6.5 foot, but really not much for us to get from that vehicle. Really not much for us to get from there. But here's why this is not important. Obviously, Kia is testing it here in the United States. We know that. So, is there a potential to bring this vehicle to the United States? Because in theory, why would you not bring a vehicle to the United States but then test it here? It would make sense to test this vehicle in the United States to then bring it here at some point. That would make a lot of sense. But we also have to remember, it's very common in the auto industry to take vehicles to other countries of the world, never release them there, but just take them there just to test it and see if it can withstand those conditions. The reason that's important is because, like I said, on the Global Media Center, we have an official page for it. No mention of bringing it to the United States. Not even there's a possibility this is going to happen. They just didn't even mention it at all. The Kia Newsroom USA, no mention of it at all. We come over to MSN's article here under the Drive, story by Nico. They did reach out to Kia over the footage that has been shown to us. They reached out to Kia America, and there is no official announcements of this vehicle coming to the United States at all, or potentially coming. However, a representative of the automaker on the U.S. division did tell Car Scoops it's important to note that Kia's California proving ground is located in the Mojave Desert, and that is where Kia, on a lot of their vehicles, especially American vehicles, but also global vehicles as well, which they mention here, they do a lot of R&D, research development. That does not imply plans for its sale in the US market. Like I said, this is not uncommon. Car makers do this all the time. Automakers do this all the time. Even cars that are sold here in America, they are taken to other countries and they test them there to see if it can withstand the conditions. So, and we've seen this with Mitsubishi. We've seen this with a bunch of Dodge, little pickup trucks. We've seen this with arguably what is the Mitsubishi Triton and things like that, and a lot of trucks in the Mexican market. Like I said, we don't have any mention from the Global Newsroom article as it going to come to the United States. None. They just don't even mention it. We do have a representative, though, telling us from Kia, essentially kind of, I don't want to say that this vehicle is ruled out for testing, or not ruled out for testing, but ruled out for sale here in the United States, but I think this is kind of what we all know, or may be able to suspect, that this might just be them giving us kind of the corporate answer, not telling us no directly, but, telling us indirectly, reading between the lines, hey guys, it's not coming to the United States. We just brought it here to test the vehicle. That being said, though, it also does not, although it does not imply it's planned for sales in the U.S. market, it also doesn't imply that it may not be for sale in the U.S. market. I think it's very interesting. If Kia is going to bring a pickup truck here, pickup trucks are doing extremely well in the United States. Kia, though, still has a bit of a brand image kind of reputation issue. Just with a lot of their vehicles, with the thefts, with the older engines, having a ton of fire risks and the EVs and things. Kia and Hyundai have come a long way. They really have. They really, really have. I think, though, there would be a lot of people that would be wary about a Kia vehicle here in the United States, but I think if they were to bring one, I think they would sell so many. I think enough people would, buy, trust it. To everybody who doesn't trust it, they would say, oh, it's going to fail. I don't think so, because the Honda Ridgeline is a success, and it's a unibody pickup truck. The Hyundai Santa Cruz, even with that dual clutch in the turbo model, a unibody truck, it is a success. It's a big seller for Hyundai. Ford Maverick, unibody truck, success. I think if Kia was to bring this vehicle here, depending on what they price it on, I think it would do really, really well. Obviously, I know there's a lot of automakers who have missed out on the opportunity. Subaru not bringing back the Baja, VW never bringing the Amarok here to America. Really, really big mishap by them. But I think if this was to compete, if this was a body-on-frame vehicle for Kia, there wouldn't, with the V6 from the Telluride, there would not be a lot of places we could complain, because most, truck kind of guys, they want body on frame, they want V6, so you can't complain there. Especially when, at that point, you could argue that this is not really more, you could argue the Santa Cruz, the Maverick, the Ridgeline are more of lifestyle pickup trucks, versus something with a body on frame is more rugged, has more capability. If you make a body-on-frame pickup truck, at that point, you're in the market with, all the other, the big boys, Nissan, Toyota, Ford, Chevy, Jeep, GMC, Rivian. You're in the big boy market. It does suck that, we don't have any word on it. Also, too, they do mention here that the truck is named after Tasmania Island, state of Australia. Naming, I know a lot of people think, oh, Tasman's not a bad name, but naming for a vehicle based on its geographic is a really big thing. We've seen it so many other times with, Nissans and Toyotas, Corollas or Camrys or something like that being called a different thing. We've seen it with the older Ford, Fusions and things, it being the Fusion here and then being the Mondeo over in Europe or something. So I wonder how that naming would work here too. Like Tasman, like it's not really like Tacoma, Frontier, Canyon, Ranger. I like the name. I like the name, but I don't know how that would work here in the United States. I mean, we have a lot of information here, but it's just we really don't know if this vehicle is going to come here. From the way it looks like I said, automakers, they even say it here, they test their cars and they say occasionally a lot of automakers test their cars in the United States all the time that are never destined for this market. They do talk about here that if it comes here, they could potentially build it at the West Point, Georgia factory, because we do also have to remember too, which is one of the big reasons that VW loves to go on about never bringing the Amarok here, is that import fee. It's that chicken tax, that 25% tariff, So that's another thing too, if Kia does bring this here, because Kia doesn't really have any other necessarily body on frame vehicles. I mean, I guess the closest thing would be the Telluride, but this would be a really big production shift for Kia. There is. But from what we're hearing from U.S. representatives from Kia America, from what we're seeing in the global newsroom, their global media center, the fact that, like I said, it's not even that they mention like, oh, we're thinking about it for other markets and things. I mean, they explicitly mention here like what markets they're sending it to, key markets. They don't mention America. They don't even mention really Europe. I don't know if this vehicle is going to come here. If I had to say, I would love to see a Kia truck just because more competition is better. But if I had to go on a hunch, if I had to make a prediction right now, given the information that we have, yes, there is a Kia Tasman in the United States. Yes, they're testing it here. I don't think they're bringing it here. I don't think it's happening. But if I had to go off, I mean, especially just what I'm seeing right now, I don't think it's coming here, guys. I think it's just that it's another Mitsubishi Triton like we've seen in the past and things like that. We see it here, they're testing it here, but I don't think it's coming here. That's just my prediction. I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, I'd love to see it. Hope I'm wrong, but I don't think it's coming here. So we've already gone long enough on this video. If we have any more information on this truck, obviously we'll make another video on it. But I mean, if it does come here, what we suspect is body on frame. We suspect a V6. Kia does do hybrids, but they don't do too many hybrids, honestly. So I don't think we'll see some sort of hybrid version on this. We might see an EV version, but I'm not too sure. Definitely the version we saw is not an EV version, so we know that there is some sort of ICE powertrain. But that's gonna be it. So, like I said, I don't think we're getting it, guys. I don't think we're getting it. But thanks for watching, everyone.